This is my sourdough discard. This is going to be used to make brown butter sourdough brownies. And this has been the active starter I've been using to make my bread. You're going to feed it. So I'm going to start by putting it into this measuring cup. It's nice and thick. And the measuring cup's on a scale, but I'm not measuring anything just yet. Nice and thick. Had it thinner and it works really well, thick or thin. It's just a little thicker this time because it just came out of the fridge. So now I'm going to put the same container back on my scale and turn it on so that it's 2 grams. And I'm going to do a 1 to 2 to 2 feeding. So I'm going to put 50 grams of starter in my container, or close to at least. $39. There we go, 50 on the dot. And then I will take the rest of the starter and put it in my discard container. I'm going to leave the discard container out since I'm going to be using it to make brownies. That way it can get closer to a room temperature. Now I'm going to put some water in this. Warm water. Putting warm water in it just because I would like to also make bread today. I'm just getting some of the extra starter off of my spatula here. A little extra starter is not going to hurt to add to it.
I'm making a cooking video.
Mm-hmm.
Can I join?
Not right now. Okay. Don't come at me. This works for me. So I've been using the bleached all-purpose flour. Use whatever you would like. But because there's 50 grams in here. 50 grams in here. I'm going to be putting 100 grams. Cleared my scale. I'm going to put 100 grams of flour in. So that's double the 50. There we go, 100. And clear it again. Now the warm water that I used to rinse my spatula off, that's kind of murky because it's got the starter in it, is going to be used to add 100 grams of water to feed my starter. And it's totally okay if it goes over just a little bit. But I didn't this time, yay. And then we're just going to get this all mixed really well. Now, my starter was thicker when I started with this.
Can I
If I want to thin it out just a little bit, I can add just a little bit more water to it. Depends on the consistency that I want. Not right now. So.
Yes, exactly, baby.
I've been okay with it being this thick. I think that's really thick. And it still grows really well. But like I said, you can always thin it out if you would like to just make it a little bit looser. I'm by no means an expert, but this is just what has worked for me, and I've had pretty decent loaves. So now that I've got it mixed, I'm gonna take my dry erase marker here. I'm gonna mark roughly where it's at right now. And then once it's doubled, I will take out what I need to use to make my bread. And then if I'm gonna bake with this tomorrow, I'll leave it out. If I'm not, then I'll put it back in the fridge, and it keeps really well. I've not had mold problems. So I'll leave that in here. We're baking brownies today. It'll rise pretty quick. And then I've got there's the fresh starter that I put in my discard. And I'm just gonna mix this all up. Just that way it's all consistent. And then I've read multiple things about not putting your starter or your discard down your drains, that it can turn it to cement. And then some people say that, oh, if you put enough water with it, it'll be fine. I find that I like to get all of the starter off of it, as long as there's no salt. Put extra water with it and get it dissolved. And then water my flowers with it. It's a good little fertilizer. Because I water it with that, I've got some flowers that look absolutely amazing. But this way, if it does end up clogging the drains, I'm not clogging the drains. I'm utilizing all of what I can utilize. You know, if you don't save your discard and you just throw it away, works. You guys just do what works for you. No reason you have to follow exactly what everybody does. I'm just gonna run around the container here and make sure all of it's loose, and then go water my flowers. Be back when make bread and brownies. Okay, in order to make the sourdough brownies, we need to brown some butter. It adds flavor.
Yeah.
And sourdough discard adds flavor, so in our pan.
I'm gonna go that way.
Thank you. Good little helper.
See, you could have moved.
So we're going to
Hot.
do it at a low temperature. And we want the butter to melt. We'll just stir it every now and then. Come back when it's browned. So just to show, it's not browned yet. I don't know if you can see that well. Oh, you can. So it's not browned just yet, but we're in a good start with what it's supposed to look like. So it's been about 10 to 15 minutes. You can take the spatula, baby. Okay, so you can see that there's a little bit of golden brown to the top of this. This is about perfect. You can go a little bit darker than that. You want to stir it just see how dark it is as I drop the camera. So you can kind of see little, hopefully, dark spots on the bottom of that. That's
It's
golden
light.
browned butter.
It's light instead.
It's light instead. Okay. Well,
When you do that, it's light.
well,
It is light.
that's perfect. So we're just going to turn the stove off and we're going to let this cool down for a little bit before we add our chocolate chips. Because if we add our chocolate chips to this now, it will scorch the chocolate and we'll have more of a grainy chocolate in our brownies instead of smooth chocolate.
Mine.
Okay, that's a much better view, hopefully, of the browned butter. You can see little pieces in between the foam on the butter in the bottom of the pan. That's the browned butter. That's a lot of really good flavor. So now we are going to add our chocolate chips to them. I use milk chocolate because nobody in the house likes semi-sweet. The recipe calls for semi-sweet. If the brownies turn out too sweet for you, you can always do like dark chocolate chips. Do a little bit less on the sugar. But for us, this is just perfect.
My tummy doesn't feel good.
Okay. We've got our chocolate and butter nice and smooth. There's a little bit of foam to it, and that's okay because it's still pretty warm. Now, we're gonna preheat our oven.
Oh, that's your survival now.
Okay, while our oven is preheating, we are gonna start mixing our ingredients together. So, we're gonna put the chocolate in the mixer. You can see how smooth that runs. Because it's got the brown butter, we want to try and get as much of that goodness out as possible. There we go. Spoon rest. Okay, we need to add our 3 eggs. And we're gonna whisk all of this together, so put the whisk attachment on. One, and of course I got shell in it. There we go. 2. And 3. We're also going to add our sugars to this. We're going to use white sugar and light brown sugar. I'm going to go ahead and get this started on mixing just in case that's still hot enough. I don't want it to cook the eggs. This is a 3/4 of a cup measuring cup. Here's our white sugar. And let's get our brown sugar. Helpful tip that I have done is brown sugar goes hard pretty fast, especially if you don't use it a whole lot. So I actually stick some large marshmallows into it so it stays soft.
Grandma's here.
Yeah. Packed.
I see those bubbles.
Add our sugar.
I'm like, I see those bubbles. I wouldn't know who those are for, would you?
Okay, we're gonna mix this until it's a really light and almost fluffy color, and then we will be back. Okay, that has been mixed and it's a paler color. Now we are gonna turn the mixer back on and turn it on. Perfect. And we are going to pour our sourdough discard in. I'm going to pour it in on this side because it's sticky, and if you get it in the wrong spot, it curls up the mixer. So we don't want it to curl up the mixer, which we know from experience. Okay, go ahead and stop it. Let's lift it up. Okay. You can help do this. We're just going to scrape the sides to make sure we got it all. Okay.
Mom, is there one egg in this?
There is raw egg in it, yes. Wipe you off. Okay, we good?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we gotta get this side right over here. There we go. Okay. Go ahead, put it down and turn it on. Oh, I guess we were supposed to pour the chocolate in after we did this part. It worked. We did it backwards.
Cheese.
Okay. Now,
What it says?
go ahead and stop.
Cheese.
We are going to add our flour.
Wait.
Let's get the flour.
I actually think that's what it's down.
Oh, you can lift it up, sweetheart.
Does this look like to put on and off?
Okay. Here's our AP flour.
Like it?
We want it to make it into the bowl and not onto you.
Like this. Lifted.
Now we're gonna add our cocoa.
Cocoa Pop. Get it? Cocoa and then pop.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cocoa puff. That's a puff, but it's also a cocoa, but it's also a puff.
Leveling it off to make sure it's good. So we need to do 2 of these. It's supposed to be half a cup. We're almost out of cocoa.
Where's my drawing?
There we go. Last of our cocoa. Go ahead and put that in. Now it calls for a teaspoon of salt, but we did use salted butter, so we're not going to do a full teaspoon. Gauge it based on what you would like to taste, how you want it to taste. We're going to do half a teaspoon, which I find is plenty. Okay? Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You might have to catch it.
Wait. But
And the recipe doesn't call for vanilla, but we add vanilla because
the
vanilla
flour
is
is going
delicious.
up.
Say about a teaspoon and a half of vanilla.
Ow.
Yeah. Cocoa powder strong. Okay. Let's lift it up and we'll scrape it down.
Yeah.
We don't want to over mix it, but we do want it mixed all the way.
Smells so good.
It smells so good. Does it smell like chocolate?
Yeah. Mom, why do we do videos?
Because.
Because why?
Because.
Because why?
Okay, go ahead and start it.
And now mix. Mixing.
I think that's good. Go ahead and stop.
Stop!
We have our
It's not good.
7.
Mom, it's still not mixed tomato.
I know. We'll hand mix that part, sweetheart. We have our 7 by 11 pan. The recipe calls for a 9 by 9 pan. But I don't have that, so our
Doing it.
7 by 11 pan works.
I cannot look at it. What's I can look at? Good.
Good job.
Mix. Look at that.
Yep. Looks good. Okay, here we go.
Just don't get heavy. Get
Yes, it is heavy. Okay. We're just gonna pour this. Right on in.
Look at that. It's so satisfying.
Is that satisfying?
Yes.
how these people do these videos and show the inside of them scraping stuff. I can't see what I'm doing.
Haha. Kaboom!
Scrape as much of that deliciousness out. And you can add chocolate chips to it
I want to
while
add
you're
chocolate
cooking.
chips. Mom, this time can we add chocolate chips?
No, Daddy doesn't like them. But you can add chocolate chips while you're mixing it.
I'm going to taste it. I'm going to taste it.
Emma,
Huh?
you're kind of loud, kid.
But I'm going to taste it first.
We're just going to smooth it out in the pan.
I'm going to taste it first. I'm going to taste it first.
Our oven's preheated already.
Preheated. Wipe and stripe and wipe and stripe and wipe and stripe and wipe. Stripe.
Okay.
I'm coming, baby.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in.
You sure?
Why?
I'm just asking if you're sure you're going to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So we will need to bake it for 30 to 35 minutes. It might take a little bit longer than the 35 minutes because we are at a little bit of a higher altitude. Okay.
Yeah.
You ready, kid? Okay, pay attention to what you're doing. Move the steps. Okay.
Yeah, so this is technically the second.
Good job.
Be careful because it's hot.
So normally I would set it for the 30 minutes, but with the higher elevation, I know that I usually have to bake it a little bit longer, so I'm going to set it for the 35 minutes, and we'll see how it goes. When a toothpick goes into it and comes out clean, we know it's done. Okay, timer went off for the brownies. We're just going to take our toothpick, stick it in the center, and see if it's cooked.
So when I'm all done,
Now, it's hard to see,
when I'm all done,
but you can see that there is still wet batter, so it needs to go a bit longer. That's why I said higher altitude, you do have to cook it longer.
are you talking to me?
We will check it back in 5 minutes. Okay, so I had to cook this for a total of 8 extra minutes. You can see that there's still a little bit, maybe if it'll focus, a little bit of batter stuck on it, but it's more of a fudgy batter versus a liquid. And when I stick the toothpick in, I'm going down this way. So this is at the very bottom of the pan. The residual heat from it should finish cooking it. And you'll get a nice fudgy brownie that's not runny. It's cooked all the way through. The top has that nice crisp, shiny top to it that you don't really need any frosting or powdered sugar unless you prefer that. And it's great. I'll record the kids eating some and be back. Okay, what do you think? Is it good?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
My mom, are you
gonna
put
share?
this on TikTok?
No, I won't do TikTok. What do you think, Cody? Is it good?
Yeah, it's yummy.
Drake?
Mm-hmm.
Amanda? Yeah? Sourdough brownies!
What about...